Hey, welcome. Today we're going to break down the two main ways our minds make sense of everything around us. Seriously, think of this as a major upgrade for your brain's operating system. Okay, so I've got a question for you. Are you a map drawer? You know, the type of person who explores new territory and sketches out the patterns you see? Or are you more of a map follower, someone who uses a trusted guide to get from point A to point B? Believe it or not, the way you answer that says a whole lot about how you think. These are basically the two main roads our brains travel down every single day. And the wild part is, we do this all the time without even realizing it. One path starts small and builds up to a big idea, while the other starts with the big idea and narrows things down. So let's jump in and explore that first path. All right, first up, we have inductive reasoning. This is the logic of the explorer, the scientist, the detective. It's that part of our thinking that's all about drawing the map of the world based on what it sees. So here's the core idea. You start with very specific individual observations, and from there you build up to a bigger, more general conclusion. That's exactly why people often call it bottom-up logic. You're literally building your knowledge from the ground up, piece by piece. And this is just a perfect example of induction in action. You see the sunrise today, you remember it rose yesterday, and the day before that. After enough of these specific little observations, your brain goes, aha, and forms a general rule. The sun always rises in the east. You've just reached a big conclusion based on a pattern of evidence. And we do this stuff constantly, right? We take these specific, often personal experiences. A family member has an accident, a friend has one too. And we generalize. We form a broader belief. Driving on ice is dangerous. Just like that, we've drawn another little section of our mental map of the world. So here's the really crucial point. Induction is incredibly powerful for discovering new things. But, and this is a huge but, its conclusions are only probable. They're not 100% certain. Just because the sun has risen every single day of your life, there is no absolute logical guarantee that it has to rise tomorrow. Okay, let's switch gears and look at our second tool. If induction is the adventurous map drawer, then deduction is the skilled navigator, the one who carefully follows a map that's already been made to get to a very precise destination. This is what we call top-down logic. We start with a big general rule. A premise we all agree is true, and we apply it to a specific situation. And the beautiful thing about deduction, if that starting rule is true, the conclusion must be true. It's practically guaranteed. And here it is, maybe the most famous example in all of philosophy. Premise 1, we accept that all humans are mortal. Premise 2, we accept that Socrates is a human. Well, if those two things are true, the conclusion that Socrates is mortal is logically inescapable. It's completely locked in. There's no wiggle room. And we use this all the time without even thinking about it. The general rule is the traffic law. The specific observation is, hey, that light is red. The conclusion is a necessary action. Stop the car. See? No guesswork, no probability, just applying a clear rule. So you get it. Deduction gives us this amazing ironclad certainty. But what's its weakness? Well, it can't actually create anything new. It only helps us see what was already hidden inside the starting rules. It helps us follow the map perfectly, but it can't draw a new one. Okay, now this is where the magic really happens. Because these two ways of thinking, they aren't rivals. They're actually partners in this incredible dance. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the engine room of human progress, science. And you can see that dance right here in the scientific method. A scientist sees something happen over and over again. They use induction to come up with a general hypothesis, a possible new map. Then they switch over to deduction and say, okay, if my map is true, then this specific thing should happen if I run a test. And that becomes the experiment. A perfect real-world story of this dance is the discovery of germs. For centuries, doctors noticed a pattern. That's an inductive observation. They formed a bold new hypothesis. Maybe invisible things cause disease. From that big idea, they made a deductive prediction. Well, if germs are the cause, then sterilizing our tools should stop infections. The experiment worked, and just like that, medicine was changed forever. And this powerful partnership isn't just for scientists in white coats, you know? It's the absolute foundation of how our legal system works, constantly balancing the need for solid rules with the need to adapt to a changing world.
This brilliant quote from Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes really nails the inductive side of the law. It's this fantastic reminder that our laws don't just spring out of some abstract textbook, they grow from the soil of real-world human experience, one case at a time. Think of it this way. Deduction is like the spine of the law. It gives it structure and consistency by applying existing rules to new cases. But induction is the law's soul. It lets judges see new patterns in old cases, and from that, create new principles that allow the law to breathe and grow and stay fair. All right, let's bring this all home. How can you start consciously using these two amazing tools to make your own thinking sharper, clearer, and just better? You know, if you really want to understand something new, whether it's a new job, a tricky relationship, whatever it is, you have to be both the farmer and the map maker. You need the farmer's on-the-ground, real-world inductive observations, and you need the map maker's deductive logic to give it all structure and make sense of it. So here's the final breakdown, a super clear cheat sheet for you. Deduction, it moves from the general to the specific, giving you certainty. It's the map follower. Induction, it moves from the specific to the general, creating new ideas. It's the map drawer. One gives you solid ground to stand on, the other shows you brand new horizons. So in the end, you see, real wisdom isn't about picking a team. It's about knowing which tool to use and when to use it. It's about having the courage of that explorer to wander off the path and spot new patterns, and having the discipline of the navigator to test those patterns with cold, hard logic. The only question left is, what map are you going to draw next?